We are going fast, and now we're going fast in cars. We're gonna see Colin McRae rally with Mike. He's back, and with the BBG 13, he's also back, and with all the other people in the back are back. Apparently, they just went off when the interview started. Yeah, everyone was standing in the floor, but yeah, now they're all here. So we're gonna give it over to the couch guys. Apparently not, because
Hang on, wait. Wait. Do you want me to hold the mic? You just do the talking.
Oh my god.
Cameraman. Marker and action.
Thanks, guys. I didn't touch it, dude. I did not touch that. Andy!
I mean, I can hold it.
Technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
Okay,
And we're back.
UKSG Spring 2018 highlight the second.
Alright, here we go.
This is where it falls off again. Jinx, dude.
Okay, apologies about probably a very loud crash followed by a lot of.
Wait, what does Twitch
commotion.
chat say? I gotta find myself. What did it? Please tell me. They must have said something.
Rip headphones users, probably.
What have they said?
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get started, shall we? Go and go. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank God, that was quick.
So welcome to Colin McRae Rally for the Gameboy Color. This game is an adventure, to say the least.
Yes. Very much.
It controls about as well as you'd expect a Game Boy Color driving game to work. The camera doesn't turn, so we're always going to be looking at it from like this angle, which makes knowing what corners are coming difficult at best. Yeah.
So the way the game runs is it works off a, I want to say look where you're looking system. So basically the arrows at the top, obviously you can tell which way they're going left and the right. But basically the way it works is, depending on which way you're facing will depend on where the next corner will be on the screen. So for example, if you're going in a straight line as in you're heading up and it says left turn, you'll go left. But when you're going left and it says turn right, it'll go back up towards the top of the screen. It's a bit weird, but once you get used to how the system works, the game works just fine. Obviously the driving is the main aspect of the game. As you've seen Mike already take several shortcuts to finish the stage relatively quick. There's a lot of teensy little, tiny little shortcuts that you can use. I believe the record for this game is like 14 something minutes. The next goal in mind I think is sub 14, but I'm not sure.
So yeah, sub
Something
14
like
is
that.
definitely possible. There's a guy in the community called Joseph who's been doing a lot of really good work for this game recently, and he got a run which was almost sub 14, and that was still with a few mistakes to go. So this game is, although it's relatively new, this game, because we only realized this was a thing like not long ago.
I think I accidentally said on my stream once, I was like, I'm sure I had a hunch that there was a Game Boy Color version. I was like, I'm sure there's a Game Boy Color version. Anyway, what did I do? Looked on Wiki, bam, there it is. I'm like, I guess we're gonna speedrun that now. So next thing I think I did the first one, I can't remember, but yeah, and then all of a sudden this is now officially, I think, would you say this is the meme of the Colin McRae Rally series? Because it's so bad it's good,
Yeah, so
in a way. I don't know.
it's
It's hard to master.
it's hard to get into this game because you gotta spend a lot of time just playing the courses and learning the courses, and none of that is particularly fun. Mostly because this game is relatively unforgiving. To actually beat this game is easy. We play on Novice. The different difficulties in this game dictate how many races you do and how good the AI do. Of course, you never actually see the other racers. We just know what their times are once we get through every checkpoint.
On Novice, I believe you don't, but on Intermediate and Expert, I believe you do, but those are in the form of super special stages.
Oh yeah, so yeah, there's an
but-
extra set of races on some of the harder difficulties as well.
Yeah. So I think out of the 3 difficulties, the one we're running right now, the one Mike's running, is the Novice Championship, which is relatively straightforward. It's 3 rallies, 2 stages apiece. The first one being New Zealand, which is the one we're doing right now. Greece, I believe, is the second one, and Austria slash, as we get a shout out from our host, is Austria slash Monte Carlo. Now, the funny thing is the PS1 version slash PC version of this game, there's a bit of a weird tweak to that game, and then the Game Boy Color just stays with, doesn't matter which version of the game you pick up, I don't think. But basically the third rally in the game, which is the way this one runs, that runs in the same order: New Zealand, Greece, Austria. And in, I think it's the PAL version, the game's called, the third rally is Monte Carlo, but in the North American version and other different European versions, you can actually get Austria. Don't have a clue why. The stages are exactly the same, so we just decided they want to change the text. Obviously, Austria and Monte Carlo are different places, they're not the same. But apparently the guy who's developing different versions decided they were, so he ended up renaming it. All the stages, like I said, are exactly the same. There's no difference whatsoever. But another thing which we didn't even mention yet is the reason why Mike is driving the Escort. So there is 2 cars from the Novice Championship. There is the Volkswagen Golf and the Ford Escort Mark II. Now, according to Joseph, the guy who runs this game, he's also one of the guys who has, I think he has the record right now, I think. But the guy who has the record, Joseph, he had a chat to me the other day about the cars, and what he's apparently found out is that between the Golf and the Escort, the Golf handles better than the Escort, but is slower in a straight line. And the Escort handles bad, but it's difficult to master, but its speed is so much better. So obviously the idea being, as we've got Greece, with only one Greek in the room, but it's sorry Paul, but yeah, it's like I said, it's very interesting to say the least, because the 2 cars themselves, I always thought the Golf was the quicker car, but clearly the Escort is. Again, you have to really iron the cracks out on this game. This game is not easy by any stretch. Even the Novice, for me, first time I played this game through on Novice, I struggled. I lost against the AI. To put that in perspective, I play a lot of rally games, and nothing's kicked me in the ass harder than this game has.
Yeah, to give a sense of scale, traditionally, when, like, in all the races we've been doing so far, we've been about maybe a minute ahead of the person in second place.
But when I started, well, when we all started, I think we were about maybe a couple of seconds ahead. Just.
Yeah. It takes a while to get used to this game, definitely.
It's probably worth mentioning as well, Joseph's the only one who's actually gone the furthest, I think, out of all of the runners for this game, and has actually attempted the intermediate.
Yeah.
That is something that's on, I think, my list, and maybe yours, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tackle it one day.
But it's actually, I think this is also a really good time as well, to just mention an event that the Colin McRae Rally community is running. I don't know if Paul's okay with that. That's the question. There's an event that the Colin McRae Rally Discord is running in August. I just wanted to just quickly mention on it. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Is that alright? So, this Colin McRae Rally Discord thing is basically the guys over at the Colin McRae Rally speedrunning community. So myself, Mike, several of us, Joseph, and like I said, I think there's about 20 or 30 of us. I don't know how many of those do speedruns, but either way, have come up with the idea of hosting a speedrunning race, which is called McRae-a-thon. And it's basically completing the Colin McRae Rally games from the first one to 2005. So this excludes the handheld versions, which are these ones, unfortunately for Mike.
The only ones I've actually decent at.
And the Dirt series as well. So any of the Dirt games don't count either. But we are hosting, I think it's on the 4th of August, that's the date we've got so far, starting at 1 PM. Actually, there is a speedrun.com page, but it's McRae-a-thon, if anyone's interested. But yeah, that's what we're running as a community in August. And we're hoping, it's the first time we're running the event, so it's going to be interesting to see what sort of audience we get. So if anybody's interested, that's happening in August. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to send a message to us or anything, or post them in the chat for Paul to read. That's always an option.
So this is Greece. We've been in Greece for a bit, but it's worth explaining that the track is definitely a lot more slippy here compared to that one. You'll notice I am sliding off the tracks quite frequently.
And the
There's
tracks are
not
a bit
too
longer.
much option you have with this car, otherwise. But more often than not, the actual like gravel and the outskirts of the track don't actually slow you down significantly. You'll notice that in the first few races we were doing, we're actually cutting over a lot of corners, and that's simply because once you're at top speed, going on the grass and such doesn't actually slow your car down to a significant enough extent to hinder you. So all of the time, we can just be really lenient when we're going around some of these corners.
Just to put it in perspective as well, there is a fair few differences between obviously the Game Boy Color version and the main version, which is the PS1/PC version. Obviously, other than the fact that the Game Boy Color is shot at a top-down view, but I think that's just because of the limited hardware that the Game Boy Color uses, so it makes sense. But the PS1 PC versions obviously have much more detail, as you'd expect. However, unlike the Game Boy Color version, when you go on the grass will severely slow you down, and you'll also go sliding like really hard off the stage. So, for example, I think in the first stage there's like a grass bank that we use.
That was a PB.
As that is Greece done, and we're on to Austria now. It's the final one. I think it's that one you put on.
Yeah, I like spikes.
So, like I said, out of all of the things that we do, I think this game is fairly fast. It is relatively quick for a rally game, to be honest. The grass banks, like I said, in the main version, they allow you to slide, and I think, if I remember rightly, there is a lot more stages in the Novice Championship, quite a fair few. So the Novice Championship, as mentioned before, it's 2 stages per rally. There's 3 rallies. That's 6 stages. That's it. The PlayStation 1/PC version has 6 rallies you can do with 3 stages apiece. So it comes in at around the hour mark. So I think currently the best time set on both platforms currently held by me. But the best time, I think, if you want to get a pretty decent time, I think Mike's time, your time is like a 107.
For what, sorry?
For the PlayStation 1 version.
Oh yeah, I've got like a 107.
But the thing is, there's a bit of a hindrance which can kind of stop people from speedrunning this. And I will mention it, just don't be afraid about it. So, one thing that I think you had a problem with, wasn't it, when you started, was not having enough points to get to the last rally.
No, I had a problem with, what is it, Sweden? When it's like
Sweden,
90% ice, and how do you drive on just ice? It's not fun. So, to further build on this, so this track, the reason we went into the repair menu when going to this race is because I believe this race is, well, between snow and ice, that makes up around, I think it's somewhere between 70 to 80% of the entire track is snow and or ice. So without the without taking the time to go into the menu and equip the spikes, we would be going really wide on a lot of these corners, like even more than we already are.
Yeah,
And we need to take a lot.
problem.
Yeah, and even with the spikes, we still need to take a lot of this track really slowly, so we don't slide too much about this place.
The one other thing as well about this game, I think, with the Intermediate and Expert Championships, so that's another kind of major difference as well. Obviously, it's to be expected that this version of the game is going to have much less, a fair few less stages than the main version of the game. So, like I said, Novice is 18 stages on PlayStation 1, it's only 6 on this. On the Intermediate version, I believe you have to do 6 stages at 8 rallies, which comes at like 2.5 hours on the PlayStation version. Game Boy Color is about 1 hour and 10 minutes because it's about 20 stages. I think there's 6 rallies, and you don't do the other 2 that you're supposed to do. You don't do them. So there's actually, like I said, there's 2. Basically, what I'm getting at, there's 2 rallies in the main version that are missing out of this version. I think it's actually not 2 different versions.
So anyways, worth mentioning, so this is the second stage in Austria. This is also the final stage we're going to be doing. So as soon as we finish this race, that'll be the end.
Also, I think I could give a fairly good tip for people who think it might be good to speedrun this game. If you're going to
Play it.
speedrun this game, don't play the PC version. Play the PS1 and the Game Boy
Oh
Color version.
yeah, no.
Because unfortunately, unless you've got an old ass PC, and I mean old, Windows 98 old, the game will constantly crash, even with fixes. We've only got, I think, one guy that's run the PC version that's managed to get it running stable. I've tried running the game stable, it just doesn't run stable. There's 2 or 3 other lads that have tried it, and it just does not run stable. Chances are your best bet, if you want to run the PC version, you're either going to have to prepare for the game crashing a lot, or find some extraordinary fix that completely fixes the
Or
game.
run it in a
Either way,
virtual
it's not
machine.
very good. Well, I tried running a virtual machine, it didn't work too well. But either way. Yeah, PS1 version's a lot more stable. The only thing you have to worry about is if your disc is scratched or not, which is fairly self-explanatory, it's fairly obvious. Also, that was super wide.
Yeah,
you went really
yeah.
wide there.
So because I've got this spike script, the spikes don't do too well on the tarmac. So
That might explain why you use wet move.
I mean, the wet doesn't really help any of this because it's not raining.
Ah, yeah. You got snow though. Isn't too bad. Also, I think I can nail Legend of Zelda. Fair enough. Yeah, I think what we've said about this game, I think there's enough to say, and thankfully in 15 minutes, I think, oh, Jesus Christ.
Are we going to be
Just-
on the dot?
Just keep at
Are we
it,
gonna
I'm
be-
pretty sure.
Oh no, that's not the last one. Oh,
No, no,
Oh.
no, no. Oh, no.
time.
Time.
Oh.
3 seconds left, not bad.
I wasn't saying when I said
That
I
was
wasn't
2
kidding when I
seconds
said
off.
15 minutes.
Very
Uh,
on the dot.
but yeah,
Just short of
there you go.
15.
That's the MRGBC. It's actually surprisingly fun, and it's really cheap as well. So if you want a cheap game,
Another good
to
reason
pick
to
up for
buy
a
it,
fun
actually.
thing.
Yeah, another good reason to buy it.
Right, well, yeah. Anyway,
That's
thank
it.
you for. Thanks for that.
This is very. Mike's like.
I don't want to touch it after it fell last time.
Mike's like, bang! Careful with my microphone, guys. I'm easy.
Flux. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh,
We got a flat.
Flutch.
Lead your next. Out of gas.
Thank you. Yeah, I was a little bit scared because when the run ended, no one wanted to like hover the microphone over to me because last time it just, well, microphone is tired, microphone wants to sleep. Anyways, Mike, thank you very much for that. Well, pretty good run. I mean, that was on spot, and yeah, now.
Just plug it in and press
We won't even stop with racing games or like with cars or vehicles or I mean we are still full of energy and I doubt we will go out of gas soon. Well, actually we do with floods after we finish the setup, so stay tuned.